The idea is when you purchase more than 2 guns at a time, it generates a multiple sale report. And it comes to us and we have to check them out.
How's everybody doing? My name is Anthony Brian Logan, and today we got to talk about a crazy story coming out of Wilmington, Delaware, involving a man who legally purchased guns and then had the federales show up at his house, knock on his door and say, "Hey man, where are those guns at? Let's see them right now." Now, of course, there is video of this. If you want to see the full video without my commentary or anything like that, a link will be in the description. And it was captured on the Ring doorbell camera. So the quality is decent, but it's not like you got a whole film crew there. But before I go into it and really just give my opinion on it, let's roll the clip here. In this clip, you're going to see the federales, meaning the ATF, alcohol, tobacco, firearms specifically, out there talking to the homeowner, the gun owner, about his guns. And after we get done watching that, I'll come back. I'll talk about what was said and done there. Then I'll give you the rest of my 2 cents and my deep detail analysis. And then I'll wrap it on up with a nice bow on top. So without further ado, let's go ahead and roll it.
Sir?
Yeah.
Okay, that's all I'm doing is verify that, look, verifying that you have it. You got 2 different purchases.
Okay.
If you have them, I'm out of here. That's how quick it is. Yeah. You have them with you by any chance? Are they? If you can unload them and bring them out, or you can go out to your foyer here, check them out by serial number, and we're out of here.
That's it?
Yep.
That's it. It'll take 5 seconds.
The reason we're out here is we're obviously gun violence has been an uptick, so we want to make sure we've been having a lot of issues with straw purchases. So one of the things indicators that we get is somebody makes like a large gun purchase, and then a lot of times we've been there like, oh, those guns got taken. We're like,
so the idea is when you purchase more than 2 guns at a time, it generates a multiple sale report. And it comes to us and we have to check them out. Okay. That's all that is. You did nothing wrong. Did absolutely zero. I noticed that you were stopped in Philly though, right? With one of your guns.
All right. So you saw that, you heard that. Now there's a lot going on in that very short clip. It was just 1 minute from the Ring camera. I'm not sure where the other footage is. If I can find that, I'll link to it in the box with that footage there. But there's a whole lot going on. First of all, this is exactly what I said. What happened? What did I say? When they're talking about having these new gun laws in the books, they want to enhance background checks, all this, that, and the third. I'm like, wait a minute. You already have background checks. You know, the average normie does not know that if you want to buy a gun, when I say normie, I mean the non-gun owner, regular person that's not really politically aware. They don't know that if you go to the gun store and buy a gun, you got to pass a background check. You go to a federal firearms licensed dealer, you can't just buy a gun randomly. If you buy a gun online, it must be shipped to a FFL, and you got to do a background check before you're able to actually take that gun away. Okay, people don't really know that. So when I hear about background checks, like we already have those nationwide, what else are we going to do? Are you going to enhance the background check? How are you going to enhance that? Put all the guns on a registry, on the list, and apparently the list already exists. He already had paperwork. He had sheets of paper he was reading. He had documents right there. He's like, okay, you have this gun, this gun, this gun, and here's the serial numbers. Bring them out right now. Let's match the serial numbers up, match the guns up, and then we're good to go. We'll check it to see if you still have them, because we're trying to stop, quote unquote, straw purchases. Now, what is that? If you don't know, a straw purchase is when a person legally buys a gun and then gives it or sells it to somebody else that probably will not be able to buy the gun by themselves. They couldn't pass a background check. They're not of age or not a citizen, whatever the case may be. Okay. You might send them overseas. You might do something else with them rather than just keep the guns for yourself in your own home, your car, on your person, or whatever it is. So that's their excuse. But check it out. What if I was victim of a home invasion or a burglary I didn't even know about? You could be burgled in the daytime and not even know you were burgled, and then the guns are missing. It could be somebody in your home that took the guns. So if the guns aren't there, my question is, what is the actual penalty? If I say, okay, all right, you got 4 guns on that list, right? Because they say anything more than 2 guns is going to trigger automatic flag. I'll talk about that part in a minute. But if you have a list of 4 guns and I only have 3 and I can't produce the other one, what's going to happen? Am I going to get a fine? Am I going to go to jail? Like, what's going to be the penalty? Will I be held liable if a gun was taken from me without my knowledge and then it's used in the commission of a crime? How does that really work? I'm not really sure. what are they really going to try to do? Like, if the guns aren't there, what are they going to do? That's probably my central point here. What are they going to do? Are they going to lock you up, give you a fine, or like what law have you broken by not being able to locate one of your guns at any point in time? This was a surprise visit, as far as I know. Just went to this man's house and are asking for the guns. If you can't produce all the guns at that moment when they are at your house, what happens? I don't really know. But let's get back to this whole thing about the flag. So when did this become a law? When did this become a thing where you got to have more? If you buy more than 2 guns at once, the federales, the ATF will come to your house. When did that become a law? Again, this is in Wilmington, Delaware. So is it a state thing? Is it a federal thing? It appears to be a federal thing. The ATF involved. I mean, maybe I'm wrong about that. If y'all know better, y'all please let me know in the comments below. But I think it's a federal thing to try and get quote unquote tougher on gun control. But see, the problem is, as I said weeks ago, when they were trying to, or when they did pass the whole gun control thing and they want to have enhanced background check, all that and the third, when you just put more laws on the regular citizen, you're going to ignore the guy that's out there committing most of the crime, the criminal. You see, the criminal will not have any kind of paper trail. He won't have no paper trail on him. You won't be able to come to the criminal's house and say, hey, you went to Bob's gun store on Thursday, July 19th at 2:30 p.m., okay, and you were driving a red Dodge Challenger and you were in Smyrna, Georgia. They can't say all that about the criminal on the street because he'll get his guns off the street. There won't be any video of him doing it. Usually, some of these guys are dumb. They'll put the video of them with the gun on TikTok, with their face in it and everything. But that's a different story, and I digress. My point is that you're not going to see them go to the gun store. You're not going to have that evidence. You're not going to have a list of all the guns that they have. They're going to have their guns in some bando somewhere, some abandoned building, some stolen car, and they're going to operate under the radar that way. So you can't come to their house and request their guns at any time. You don't know where they live. You don't know what guns they have. You don't know anything. You'll find out if you catch them doing the crime. Maybe you'll find out then. You still got to figure out where they live and, you know, all that good stuff. But anyway, all you're doing right now is just imposing more rules and restrictions upon the regular everyday citizen that the criminal will not face. So I'm just trying to figure out what's the purpose. May you catch people straw purchasing and whatnot with this method? Perhaps. Sure you could. If a guy buys 10 guns from the store at once, you go to his house in a week and all the guns are gone or you can't locate them, you might have an issue. But how many of those guys are you going to find versus regular normies who you are harassing? Well, that energy should be spent on getting to the actual root of the problem. It's so dumb. You have the border wide open, right? The border's wide open. You got guns coming across, drugs coming across, human beings coming across, whether they be here against their will, for their will, or whatever. You have all that coming across rather than focusing on that, which would reduce crime in general, especially gun crime, drug crime, all that. Rather than focusing on that, you want to go to this regular dude's house to try and harass him. You just, it doesn't make any sense at all. Now, I don't necessarily blame the ATF guys that are out there. I blame the system that they're in that's making them do this because they shouldn't have to do this. You know, it just be focusing on real criminals, focusing on the cartels, the Bloods and Crips, not some regular normie that bought 3 guns at Bob's Guns and Plus, Bob's Guns and Shooting Range in middle of nowhere, USA. It's so silly. But as I close, I want to say this. I told you guys this would happen. You told me this would happen. And here we are. It's not like anybody who called this is some kind of big brain super genius. We're all smart if we caught it, but it's not that difficult to see where they're going to go. We already had background checks. Then they said we need more background checks. What does this mean? You're going to put all your guns on the list, and at any point in time, they can say, hey, man, you still got those guns? Or, matter of fact, we need those guns back right now. We know what you have in your house. Here's a list. The man had it. Should have. He was like, look, here's a list. And you were stopped in Philly with your guns. So they got police reports. They got your purchase history. They know where you live. They have everything on you. They got everything on you. So the more power you give to the federales, the more power you give to the federal government, the state government, the less rights, the less privacy, the less freedom you have as an American citizen. But I think I'll leave that right there for now. And what say you? How do you feel about the federales popping up to somebody's house because they purchased more than 2 guns legally? Now, I'm not saying they stole them or they're a suspect in the crime. Purchase guns legally. How do you feel about that? Is it a good thing, bad thing, somewhere in between? Whatever your thoughts are, please let me know in the comments below. You guys know where I stand. This is a gross overreach of government, but it's predictable. People say they want gun control. Okay, if you want the federales to step in and help with this whole gun issue, what's going to happen is you're going to have fewer and fewer personal rights in the name of safety, in the name of security, in the name of having quote unquote less mass shootings. Now, will this actually work? Who knows? Because they only report on certain mass shootings. There's always a mass shooting happening in the hood and anywhereville, USA. It always happens, but the problem is only certain mass shootings get publicity. It could be a church or a mall, school. These are the ones that get attention, but just regular everyday violence at a party, in the club, or in a neighborhood or something like that. Who cares, right? Typical ghetto violence. It doesn't really move the needle. It's not really a thing that people even bat their eye at. But then when the school gets shot up, oh, now all of a sudden it's a big deal. Okay, that school could have been shot up, had the same number of fatalities as Chicago in one weekend, and we know which would get the most attention. That's just what it is, unfortunately. And whatever your thoughts are, please let me know in the comments below. And that's all I got to say for this video. If you like what you heard, please comment, rate, share, and subscribe. Peace.